Hello, YouTubers. How are you today? I am Miss Chocolate Diva 80, and I haven't been recording for quite a few years. I don't think I really wanted to give YouTube a full chance, probably out of fear. But a lot of changes have been going on with Miss Pia, and I think I'm gonna give this another round, a little shot of things. First things first, if you are here watching me, welcome. I do have a interesting life. I really do. Still debating if I want to share everything, but I think eventually, you know, things will evolve, you know? If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. And just a quick little chat about men. Who doesn't want to talk about that? Men are pretty predictable, you know? We make them appear unpredictable. Some of us. And what I mean by that is, you know, the ones that come and sell us dreams of commitment, marriage, a life, and the ones who think they've been honest. What did I do wrong? I was honest with you. You knew what it was from the beginning. I laugh because dealing with men for such a long time, I've conducted myself like one with them. You know, I figured, how can I get back to some of these dudes that gotten away with murder, of how they've treated me and disrespected me? And I paid attention. I rethought all the negative actions that were done on me, I would do to the others, you know? I talked to some guys who say, well, women are the new men or the new players and how they run this game and everything else. But if you still have, that might be for the younger generation. I'm part of the millennials, the beginning of the millennials, who still have some sense, I think, and no disrespect to the millennials, the younger millennials, but for us, that turn, that borderline millennials, borderline the generation before us, because we still were raised by, some of us are raised by baby boomers, these millennials. And I'm sorry I took so long to explain that. Just hope you understand where I'm coming from. But basically what I'm just trying to say is that some of us still have some old school in us, you know, especially how we were raised. And so, you know, there's things that some men, whether they're around our age or younger, the way they come at us, their approach. I mean, I think men are still, they're pretty smart. Because even though they might play this reverse psychology that women who are educated, banging jobs, banging salaries, you know, doing what they doing as single mothers, as independent women with no kids. I mean, the list is endless of women, no matter what race you are, size, creed, any of that. We're killing the game. However, we are all little girls dressed in pink, you know. That's an expression my best friend used. We still are pretty in pink. We still have Cinderella with Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, you name it. We are still living that Disney dream, you know. And for some of us, it doesn't have to be Black America. It doesn't have to be African Americans, but some of us who was raised during the Family Matters. Well, there was a show named Family Ties back in the day. That was a good show. Um, the Different Worlds and Martin and Gina, and I hate to say this, but The Cosby Show. We still want that. Husband, wife, family, good careers, good salaries. We all want that. You know, a man that respects us, honor us, who is consistent, who his word is his bond. We all still want that, you know? But it's just so sad that the scraps that are left over, honey, okay? And I don't mean to say it just like that, but unfortunately, the mindset that I'm in, the men that are left over, the scraps, the chitlins, like I said, I don't mean to go in. It could be the state of mind I'm in, it could be the mood I'm in, but honestly, the ones that don't have everything figured out, and when I mean I'm a millennial, I'm talking about 38, no. Yeah, 38, 39, 40, 41, okay? 41 is the generation before us. I'm sorry, so it's 40 and down. Those men that are still lingering around, single, fathers, no, not fathers, still trying to figure life out. That's what I mean by scraps, but I don't mean to call them scraps like that, because they're good men. They have good in them, you know, and with all this Black Lives Matter stuff, you know, you want to big up black men and promote black men and support black men as much as possible, right? All good intentions. But some of them in their thinking, and if they're 40 plus, they're set in their ways, you know? And they may have gone through some traumatic experiences prior to becoming to the 40s, but I'm thinking about an episode with Martin when he gave that pathetic proposal to Gina, and Gina was moving to New York, and he was like, I think it's the following week, the next episode, where he's sitting with his boss Stan and a bunch of older men, and they're playing poker, and they're talking about women and their issues with women, and he can't believe Gina left him to go to New York. And one of Stan's friends after playing poker pulls him to the side and basically says, I saw how you were talking about your old lady, and go get her if you still got the chance to go get her, because young fools become old fools. And that's deep. I just want to know, are these dudes paying attention to how they're turning into old fools now? You're letting good women who has great, phenomenal self-worth about themselves, you can either recognize it or not. You are so deprived of therapy and not getting the kind of attention you need to get you out of whatever funk you've been living in for not just a little bit, not just I'm going through a phase, but for years. And you have not come to the conclusion of, what can I do, to face my fears? What can I do to make myself better? And it's really facing their fears. Whatever fear they may be going through or whatever fear they have, they're afraid to face it. And that's where they're at in their life. How about the ones who are married and they wake up one morning and straight change on you? And this is a man you've been married to, sleeping in the same bed and had children with, and you're like, what just fell and bumped on his head? You know? And it makes me wonder, why us as African American couples, we don't have a better, it doesn't even have to be African American couples, but why can't we millennial couples, it doesn't even have to be millennial couples, I don't mean to classify them, but why can't some of us couples not have a better playbook to a better marriage? You know what I mean? And trust me, the ones that are religious, you know, you can go off of Bible-based principles, but so much. But if he's not getting it, but he knows how to preach it, there's a problem. All right? Therapy. All right? Couples therapy. There is some traumatic issues that a lot of us have that we can't let go of it. And at this point, I'm kind of turning the direction of this conversation more generalized because you can, the minute you're talking, let's say somebody's telling you their story about some traumatic experience, some emotional traumatic experience, and if you really listen and pay attention to that person, especially when it happened to them, they're talking to you as that younger version of them. You know what I mean? Not the mature older person in front of them. They developed that person. But the person who is still underdeveloped is that younger person who went through a traumatic experience and it wasn't even handled correctly for them. You know, and we live in a world where, prior, some of us lived in a world where you can't really cry over spilt milk. Nowadays, they do cry over spilt milk, but it doesn't get resolved. It still doesn't get cleaned up with that Swift mop. it's either pushed to another section, wiped down by the cheap paper towels, and that milk is still spilling somewhere else. You know what I mean? Even though they're crying over it, it's still not getting cleaned up the proper way. And that brings me to the episode The Chi. If anybody is current with this third season, and the character Keisha had been kidnapped and now she's fine. Now they're going through the process of healing, the process of the aftermath of being kidnapped, what was going on with her during that time, what she lost during that time too. She was getting ready to go to college, and now she has to re-identify herself all over again at a young age. And it was a powerful episode. It was a powerful episode. Shout out to Lena Waithe and all the creators and directors on that episode. It was a powerful episode last night. Kudos. Because it shows everything that needs to be shown. You know, people who never experience a traumatic experience, whatever level it is, or because some people haven't experienced that level of magnitude of trauma. So it helps you really figure out, what would I do? How would I really handle that? We can always assume, but it doesn't mean it's going to play out that way, because at the end of the day, until something has been done to us similar to that, it's all about how we compute that whole situation. How do we think about ourselves with that whole situation, you know? I'll use another example, because I do have a medical background, and you know, let's say a heart surgeon. You're talking to your patient. You've been trying to manage the patient's heart, any clogged arteries and everything else. Well, the situation just gotten worse to where the patient needs to go for surgery, right? And the doctor all this time has been treating you outside looking in. Now he's going to have to put you on a table and open you up, okay? And that's when he's going to really be able to say, yeah, I can save your life. No, I can't, right? So we don't know what's going on, or how deep a situation is, or how we can respond to a situation if it's done to us, until you experience it. And I'm not saying we have to experience it, but just the way that show last night broke everything down, it was good to know how to handle a situation in the future similar to that, or anything, with you, family member, anything. It was just really, it was really well directed. It was a very good episode. So I say all of this to say, some of us who are struggling with love, looking for our soulmate. I'm trying not to get emotional. Or we thought we found our soulmate, our life partner, and they turn on us. Do not neglect yourself from feeling the pain. That's what Iyanla, Ms. Van Sant, that's what she's basically saying. You cannot ignore your pain anymore, because when you ignore your pain, it internalizes into something else. Do you really want to internalize into something else? Because then that's another issue you got to deal with. Go through the motions. It's not going to be fun, but start identifying who you are. Seriously. If you're in a toxic situation, figure it out. Acknowledge it. That is the first step to recovery. Seriously. Now, not only acknowledge it, but put an attempt to figuring out, what do you want to do to make the situation better for yourself? Because we get tired of living with the issues we have. And that's why some people do turn to commit suicide, unfortunately, because they're tired, and I get it. I sympathize for those people. People can say, well, they didn't have God in their life, so they didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't know how to handle it. That may be true, but guess what? That's none of your business. Be a support system. Just encourage them. Pray for them. Always be positivity for them, so they can have a reason to say, you know what? I may not understand why I want to keep living, but I'm going to figure this out, And, while we're dealing with these men who lived in a society where showing their emotions is shamed upon, and, they only know about putting it to the side and dealing with their own ways, or self-medicating themselves with things that they don't need to be self-medicating themselves with. They're just not going about it the right way. And it's fear of what they're going to experience. It's fear of what they're going to discover about themselves. But go through it. Because when you get to the other side and you look back and you say, all those years I wasted, And I could have been light on my feet if I just put in the work and stop hiding from it. It's deep. So, thanks for listening to me ramble. Some thoughts, some frustrations I've probably am personally going through. It's my therapy to share. I just hope it helps somebody out there. Till next time, and I promise it won't be 6 years. See you soon. Thanks for watching.